Now I want to show you how to complete one of my designs. It's the Hearts and Hornes Cornerstone. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put a miter line right in the corner, 45 degrees, and I usually come down about a foot, foot and a half from that corner when I make that measurement. And then I'm going to center a heart, one of the thread fusion hearts that we've done earlier, right in the corner, right on that diagonal line. And I've already laid in the heart here. So I would place my heart, quilt out the feather fronds all the way around, and I would try to be conscious of keeping them fairly even. Now once you get that heart laid in, the next step, I utilize a ruler and I go from the edge of the quilt right out here and I measure in, and I find a measurement based on how big my heart is. Obviously I've read the quilt a bit, I understand the size and the proportions that I want, and so I'm going to measure down to where I want that circle to be laid in, and I put a mark right here, and you can see this is the next mark after your miter line that you're going to do. So you place your dot right here, I take one of my small circles, and I do use the circle templates for this just to mark it so I have an idea, so they're fairly balanced and consistent on both sides, and I mark 3/4 around the circle, and then I figure out where here do I lay in my spine, and I go ahead and I just pre-mark that just so I have an idea. And again, whenever we mark something, it's basically just an idea. It's not set in stone. Once I get that in, I lay in a larger ruler right on top, center it right on that same mark, and I mark half a circle right around to here, and then I also lay in another chalk mark. I then repeat that process down the side and put in my marks. Use my round template here, use my larger round template here, and that way I have a fairly balanced design. I know that it's not going to look cattywampus if I follow a little bit of those guidelines. And again, remember the human eye will correct most inconsistencies it sees. So as long as I get it close, I know I'm doing well. And you know, unless you're the quilt police, you're not going to really notice. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my quilt back so I have a nice comfortable space within my throat of my machine to first lay this feather in, complete that whole feather, which we're going to do here in a minute, and then I would quilt the rest of the body within that throat space of the quilt, and then when I roll the quilt, that's when I will do this downward feather. And so very simply, that's the process for marking this particular design. Let's get quilting. Okay, now we're going to come out between our two fronds. We're going to go into our spine. Follow your chalk line right around into your hook. Go into your first feather frond, bring it around into your spine. Second frond, remember that C shape, down the spine, down the spine, down the spine. Keep working your way down out of that hook. C shape, keep them nice and angled. Start heading out towards the border. C shape. Come back with your C shape. Tuck them right into each other, head back, right down towards the heart. Okay, now we're getting towards the heart. We're going to go right into the heart, and we're going to tuck in those last few feathers, start wrapping them around, back in, around, back in. Little one. Now we're going to head back out. We're going to go to our chalk line. Chalk line. Chalk line, wood cut, down to the spine. And if you're not right on that chalk line, that's fine. Just be as close as you can, just so it looks even from both sides of the horns. Sink it in, come around into the spine, 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 and just go right around the top of that hook. Now pretty soon here, I'm going to start angling it down towards the border, stretching it beyond the chalk line. There we go. So it's a nice smooth transition up, up. This last one I'm going to sink in a double bump, go into a wood cut, come around, zig in, down the spine with after a few small feathers, come around to the last place, lock your hook, and there's the first side. Now we're going to go down to the lower side on the right side. Now we're going to come out the other side and do the vertical feather frond. Come down your spine, come around, start your fronds, come back, back, back. Slowly start angling it back towards the outer edge border. Down the spine, down the spine. Tuck that last one right in there, down, head back up, right to your registration line. Come right out. Lay those feathers right into each other. Or fern fronds, or leaves. If you look at the CD, you'll see a lot of different options. Double bump, fill in that space, back to the spine, sink in the last two little feather fronds, backtrack down the spine to where that last feather ended off. Now at this point what we can do is we can go around and echo and fill everything inside the echo that isn't feather fronds, and that's including the woodcuts. And then you would just continue out with that as far as you wanted to go. And again, it depends on how much you want that cornerstone to pop out.